Hey guys, welcome back to Ace Recaps. Today, I'm going to explain the 2022 fantasy adventure film titled Troll. Heads up, spoilers ahead, you've been warned. The movie opens in the majestic Dovre Mountains of Norway, where we meet young Nora, struggling to climb the towering peak known as Troll Peaks. Her father, Tobias, is a passionate folklore and mythology enthusiast, thrilled to be on this adventure. When they finally reach the summit, he eagerly questions his daughter about the legend of Troll Peaks. Although Nora claims she doesn't believe in the tale, she begins to recount it to her father. Once upon a time, during a grand troll wedding, 13 drunken trolls lost track of time. The celebration went on all night with dancing and feasting. The sun rose, turning them all to stone, and now they stand as mountains, forever frozen in their wedding clothes. Tobias nods thoughtfully as he drives along the winding road. He insists that fairy tales often contain some truth. These old stories come from somewhere, Nora, he says with a smile. Nora suddenly panics when she briefly sees a mountain shift into the shape of a troll's face. The rocky features seem to move for just a second, eyes blinking open, before returning to normal. She rubs her eyes, wondering if she imagined it. Flash forward 29 years, and we find ourselves on a scientific expedition with a team of paleontologists, led by a now adult Nora. The sun beats down on their backs as they work. She works tirelessly, digging through the earth but finds nothing remarkable. Days turn into weeks as the team's spirits sink lower. Frustration builds until, just as she's about to give up and call it quits for the season, she unearths something incredible, a dinosaur skeleton. "I found something," she calls out, her voice shaking with excitement. They celebrate her discovery with bottles of warm water and high fives, securing the future of their expedition and months of additional funding. Meanwhile, at Troll Peaks, a large group of protesters is rallying to protect the mountain from being destroyed by mining operations. They hold colorful signs and chant slogans that echo against the mountainside. The mining company workers watch from behind their equipment, annoyed by the delay. Suddenly, a massive explosion shakes the mountain, much larger than any planned blast. The ground rumbles and cracks. Rocks tumble down the slope as dust fills the air. People scream and run for cover. Miners scramble for their lives before vanishing without a trace, swallowed by the shifting earth. Something ancient and powerful has clearly been awakened, stirring deep within the mountain. The government quickly scrambles to respond, deploying military aircraft to assess the situation. Helicopters circle overhead, pilots radioing in reports of strange movements on the ground. Authorities alert the Prime Minister, who steps out of an important meeting to address the crisis. Along with his advisors, he is baffled by the unfolding chaos shown on the emergency monitors. In their search for answers, they recruit Nora, remembering her connection to the area from her childhood. Just as she's reveling in her discovery, her celebration is cut short by the arrival of a military aircraft. Soldiers approach her through the dust kicked up by the helicopter blades. Confused by the urgency, she follows them to the base, where she is ushered into a tense meeting room filled with serious faces and worried whispers. The officials briefed her on the massive crater that appeared in Dovre Mountain and the peculiar marks left in the landscape. They show her satellite images and drone footage of the area. As they brainstorm possible explanations, ranging from earthquakes to sinkholes, Nora stuns the room by suggesting that the markings resemble giant footprints. Her claim is met with skeptical glances and raised eyebrows, until a video from one of the protesters surfaces on a monitor. The footage reveals flying debris from the explosion taking the unmistakable shape of a troll's face, with glowing eyes and a gaping mouth. Suddenly, everything starts making sense to Nora. Her father's old stories weren't just bedtime tales, they were warnings. As she examines the evidence, giant footprints, crushed trees, and mysterious patterns on the mountains, she recalls all the myths Tobias shared with her as a child. Further investigation leads to Viking-era writings describing monstrous beings that slumber within the mountains. With all these pieces coming together, Nora realizes the shocking truth: the miners' explosions have awakened a real-life troll that had been sleeping in stone for centuries. Realizing she needs help, Nora drives to her father Tobias's remote cabin in the mountains. They haven't spoken in years. When she arrives, it's clear he's been living alone for a long time. His walls are covered with old maps, drawings of trolls, and newspaper clippings about strange occurrences in Norway's mountains. At first, Tobias refuses to help. He's still bitter that no one ever believed him. But when Nora shows him video footage of the troll on her phone, his eyes light up. Sitting in his cluttered living room, Tobias pulls out his old research books and explains Norway's true history with trolls. Long ago, trolls lived peacefully in the mountains. But when Christianity arrived in Norway about 1,000 years ago, the new rulers saw them as dangerous creatures that needed to be exterminated. Live and let live clearly wasn't a popular concept back then, so armies were sent to hunt them down. Tobias shows Nora ancient drawings of knights battling massive trolls. He explains how the Christians used the trolls' weakness to sunlight against them, driving them from their caves during the day. Most were killed, but some survived by remaining completely still when the sun rose, blending into the mountains for centuries. Nora and her team realize this is more than just stopping a monster. Combining Tobias's knowledge with her scientific approach, Nora begins piecing things together. Tobias tells her the legends about trolls turning to stone in sunlight. Nora studies maps and historical records, noticing that the troll is moving through locations that once held great significance: old graveyards, battlefields. It isn't wandering aimlessly, it's following a path, searching for something lost. The troll lumbers toward Oslo, giving us our first clear look at its monstrous form as it moves through the Norwegian countryside. It is colossal, dwarfing the buildings around it. Its body is rugged and gray, covered in patches of moss. With each step, news helicopters capture everything on film, broadcasting the astonishing sight to the world. The troll's face is exactly as depicted in old Norwegian folklore: an enormous nose, thick features, and glowing eyes. As it moves, its massive arms swing clumsily. Military helicopters circle the creature. This only seems to enrage the troll, prompting it to swat at them as if they were mere flies. Its expression reveals a deep confusion. It is a relic from an ancient world, suddenly thrust into a strange and modern era. The scene concludes with the troll advancing ever closer to Oslo. Citizens watch in horror as news footage streams across their screens, realizing that an unstoppable, legendary giant is heading straight for their city. The military launches a full-scale attack. Helicopters swarm around the troll, firing missiles and heavy machine guns. But when the smoke clears, everyone is stunned. The bullets simply bounce off its rocky skin, and the missiles only seem to make it angrier. The troll roars and swats a helicopter out of the sky, sending it crashing into the forest below. Amidst the chaos, Nora watches from a safe distance and notices something crucial: the troll isn't attacking unless provoked. When military vehicles get too close, it destroys them, but otherwise, it just seems to be trying to escape the noise and confusion. It's acting more like a frightened, lost animal than a monster bent on destruction. Determined to stop the bloodshed, Nora rushes to the military command center. It's not hunting or killing, it's following ancient mountain paths that trolls traveled centuries ago. It's just trying to find its way home. But that home doesn't exist anymore. We've built cities and roads over it. At first, the military leaders dismiss her. They're convinced that bigger weapons are the answer, because if a few missiles didn't work, surely more will. But after watching their continued failures, they finally realize Nora might have a point. They need a different approach. As the troll moves closer to the city, the government, well, let's just say they might be overreacting. Talks of nuclear options are on the table, which seems excessive for a creature that's mostly just trying to go home. This raises a moral dilemma. Should they destroy this unique being, possibly the last of its kind? Nora and her team race to find an alternative before the military takes irreversible action. The troll finally reaches Oslo at night, an awe-inspiring sight as it walks between towering skyscrapers. The military sets a trap, powerful UV lights placed throughout the city, ready to simulate sunlight, its known weakness. And as a backup plan? A nuclear strike. Nora and Tobias make a startling realization. By studying old maps, they see that the troll is heading to what was once an ancient troll temple. Today, it's the site of the royal palace. The troll isn't attacking the city, it's desperately trying to return to a home that no longer exists. As dawn approaches, tension reaches its peak. The military activates the UV lights. Because, really, what's a better way to greet someone who's been asleep for 1,000 years than by blasting them with blinding light? Unsurprisingly, this only enrages the troll. It roars in pain and confusion, but then, Nora notices something. It's making sounds that resemble an ancient Norwegian dialect her father once taught her. Realizing this might be their last chance, she convinces the military to hold fire for a moment. Using what she learned from Tobias, she communicates with the troll through ancient words and gestures. Miraculously, the troll stops and listens. In this powerful moment, it seems to understand. It knows its world is gone, that everything has changed. But it's too late for a happy ending. The sun rises, and in the middle of the city, there is nowhere for the troll to hide. It looks at Nora one last time, as if accepting its fate. As the first rays of sunlight hit, the troll slowly turns to stone, becoming a statue in the heart of Oslo. The city is saved, but at the cost of losing what might have been the last troll in existence. They're saddened by what happened, but at least now, the truth is out. The old stories were real. And perhaps, deep in Norway's mountains, more secrets are waiting to be discovered. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.